Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about the realities of choosing to be a D&D commentator, the harsh costs that come with it, and what is the future of this particular activity. That's the best term I want to use for it right now. So I just watched a really interesting video, specifically by OGGM, and so he's a small, he's one of the smaller D&D commentators. He commentates on Dungeons and Dragons a lot, and recently he put up a video and he was just wrought. Like, he was very, like, you could tell he was not happy, and he was bringing up the question of, why am I doing this? Why am I, commentating on D&D? And the reason why was he had rolled against Critical Role, and the critters just rolled up on his comments and just, like, really said some harsh things that were, that OGGM was very upset to see, right? And so he got into it, and he's like, hey, I'm doing this and I'm not making any money, so I can say whatever I want to say because I'm not making any money, and I'm not going to. And he was kind of like, I have the freedom to do this because I'm not making any money, right? And what really kind of astounded me was his expectation that he would make money commentating on D&D, right? So I think this is a subject that's incredibly near and dear to my heart. I've been commentating on Dungeons and Dragons for 8 years for 8 years on YouTube, and I'm coming up on, my channel will soon have 2,000 videos, right? So I have done a ton, and in 2,000 videos, I have never received a single dollar from YouTube because my numbers are so low, right? And one of the reasons why that is I don't get on the pay train, right? If you want to get paid for Dungeons and Dragons commentary, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, I don't think you'll ever get paid for Dungeons and Dragons commentary. What you could do is you could commentate on Dungeons and Dragons, and you will get paid for hawking tabletop role-playing game products before and after you are doing your D&D commentating, right? And so that's the issue. Is I don't think there's literally no company now. That's a really interesting fact. Like, no one gets paid for D&D commentating. There are a few people who have figured out how to get paid to hawk tabletop role-playing game products before and after they do D&D commentating, right? And so they are finding a way to be paid while they do D&D commentating, right? So I don't really feel like anybody is actually paying them for Dungeons and Dragons commentary. Now, is there a world in which people would pay for Dungeons and Dragons commentary? Well, to be clear, like, journalists do get paid. Like, so the Times, the New York Times, they have journalists, and they get paid to report the news, right? And they don't need to hawk, material. There is advertising in the paper, but they are, and so there is a relationship between the New York Times and their advertisers, but there's a little bit of a remove. There's a boundary between them and the journalists, right? That boundary does not exist in Dungeons and Dragons commentary, right? There's just no companies in the world who can pay people to report on and commentate on Dungeons and Dragons because the market is just too niche, right? So I was just really fascinated by OGGM's expectation that the world would pay for D&D commentary, right? And it just brings up a whole host of questions. So some of the questions it brings up is, like, it's a little bit of a new question, but it's a little bit of an ancient question, and that is, the biggest question is, does the world need artists, right? So D&D commentators are essentially, in my opinion, they're creating a new type of art, right? They're adding to the art that is within Dungeons and Dragons and making Dungeons and Dragons better for everyone, generally, if they're doing it right, okay? And it comes to this question of, does the world need artists? And should the world pay for art, right? And I think it's a very legitimate question, because the reality is people will make art without being paid. So why, if people are willing to make art without being paid, and people can view that art and intake that art, what is the point of making art commercial, right? And it's just absolutely fascinating, that we've landed, that here we are in 2021, and we're asking a question that was coming up in 15th century painting galleries, right? It's like, and the way they handled it was with patronage, right? The idea that it is outrageously difficult to make money as an artist. It is just incredibly difficult to make any money as an artist. And so it's so difficult that in the 15th century and 16th century, French painters, and this happened in many other countries too, but it was definitely there, would have patrons, and they were just like, I'm going to pay you to make art, right? And it was literally like, it was patronage, right? They were saying, nobody needs you to do this. But because we would like more beauty in the world, I, a wealthy person, am going to, just supply the money for this to happen, right? And and I think, and I guess that's where I'm really heading right now. Is I am super happy, and I feel incredibly privileged to provide D&D commentary that people listen to, that people comment on, that people like and subscribe on for free. I consider it a privilege to live in a world where YouTube carries my content for nothing, right? I don't take that for granted. I don't take for granted that you can go back and see a video I did 7 years ago anywhere in the world and just queue it up. I'm thankful for that, right? I'm so incredibly thankful for that. So, while OGGM is over there, complaining that he's not getting paid, I am incredibly thankful that I'm in a world where I get to do Dungeons & Dragons commentary for free. Because there's a whole bunch of benefits. One, the great thing is I'm able to be independent. I'm able to say what I truly believe. That's not a small thing, right? And I really think OGGM's like, oh, I can't wait for the day when I get paid. Well, guess what? The moment you get there, right, you're not going to be giving any real content to anybody that you genuinely want to give. You're just going to be shackled by whoever purchased you, right? And then in addition to that, I think one thing that is really interesting to me is the other issue is, how do we get paid today? I don't think people think about this enough, right? So in Dungeons & Dragons, how is treasure given to player characters? Treasure is given as maps. Treasure is given as in relationships to non-player characters who are great to be connected to. Treasure is given in gold. Treasure is given in dragon scales, right? It's given in scrolls of magic, right? Well, it's the same with D&D commentary. I am paid for what I do. It's just not in U.S. dollars, right? I have incredibly, wonderful, kind people who put just paragraphs and paragraphs of incredibly spot-on analysis in my commentaries because they listened to what I said, they engaged with what I said, it made them think. What they said comes back, makes me think, and I get to have this two-way conversation with some of the smartest people, the most charismatic people, the most intelligent people, the most creative people in the world, and to think, and it breaks my heart that OGGM doesn't think that's enough, right? That he needs that almighty U.S. dollar, right? And it's just incredible to me. So I am very, very thankful that I get to share my D&D commentary, and I'm thankful that I get to do it for nothing, right? For no U.S. dollars, but an incredible amount of other wealth, and that wealth is in interaction with my subscribers, interaction with people who interact with, I get comments on videos I did years ago, right? And it's just a joy to be able to share my thoughts with the world and to get their responses back and to supply others with a different way to look at the game. And I'm very, very thankful. And also I just want to say my heart really goes out to OGGM. I hope he continues to do his, and that's one reason why I'm talking about it. He actually, by the end of the video, he was talking about no longer doing D&D commentary, right? And I don't, and he's actually one of my competitors, right? Like, I guarantee people who listen to him listen to me, right? And the other way around. And so, but honestly, I don't want to see it go away. I don't want to lose a good D&D commentator, and so I hope my heart really goes out to him, and I'm just going to be praying that he's able to find the answers he needs to make the best decision on whether he wants to continue to commentate or not. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Do you think the world should should be structured better so that it's possible to get paid more directly and more, independently the way journalists are for D&D commentary? Or do you think the world's right where it is? D&D commentary is so low on the list of needs, right, that the reality is there just really is no market to pay people to do this, right? Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.